Hello.
Hello, good morning. How is everybody doing today?
Good.
Awesome. All right, I won't delay. I know we are all busy. So, welcome to Trilogy Training Thursday. Oh, and there's my reminder. So, welcome. And as you don't know, my name is Jessica Eberbach. I go by JE, and I'm Trilogy's Education and Development Manager. I am really excited for today. I have the pleasure of welcoming Jessica Cottrell. A lot of you know her as JC. She's our portfolio manager with Trilogy. And today she's going to be talking about budget process, getting prepared for the budget, so from bid process to capital improvements, and a lot more tips and tricks. So this is a really great webinar for our supervisors and our community managers, or anybody who's really interested in learning Trilogy budget process. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and give that control over to JC, and she is our presenter. So we are good to go. Oh, can't hear you. Hang on.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Good morning, everyone. Well, it's almost budget season. Favorite time of year, I'm sure, for all of you. But before I jump in, oh, was someone talking? Can everyone mute themselves? There's some background noise going on, so I just want to make sure everyone can hear. Before I jump into everything, I just want to go over really the purpose and why this is such an important factor. But I personally love budget writing because this is a time for you guys to really take control of your properties, say what you need done, put in place what you're wanting, what your team wants, what your residents need. So that's why this prep work before we actually write the budgets is such a vital part of the budget writing process. So to get started, I am going to share my screen quickly. Give me 1 second. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So to start off, I'm going to go briefly over timeline. I'm probably going to get that out again early July, like last year. It will give you guys a full breakdown of when bid templates are due, when the maintenance supervisors portions due, when we're writing budgets, when the first drafts due, revisions, all of that, all the way up until the end. So I'm working with Sarah on that right now. We will get that out in July, so you guys are ready to go. But first process, or I guess first step with budget writing is, of course, our bid process and bid template. So what you're looking at right now on my screen is our standard bid template. We truly did not change anything from last year. So if you were a part of this process, nothing's really going to change, but I do know a few of you are new to Trilogy, new to your position, so this is going to be a completely new process for you. So just to go over this real quickly, there is an overview tab that gives you step-by-step instructions for what each tab does, but pretty self-explanatory and easy to use. With the landscape bid request and the snow removal pricing, this is what we want to supply the vendors with when we are requesting bids. So what I always suggest is pull your current contracts with your vendors. That should give you the breakdown of how many services we're getting, what services we're getting, when they're occurring, so that you can easily go through here and say, mowing, we want to start in April, say it's mid-April, we want to do 2, then we're going to go to 4 each month, and then maybe start weaning off in October, and then ending in November. So again, this is truly giving you the control of telling those vendors what the scope of work is, when you want it to occur, And that way you're getting apples to apples bids versus, I'm sure many of you have experienced it. One vendor saying, okay, I'm going to bid out 30 mows, one saying 26, one saying 28. So when we're looking at those numbers, it's really not a good comparison because you're getting different services from everyone. So my suggestion, fill these out, maintenance supervisor, community manager, fill this out as to what you want, when you want it, and then easy, print it out, give it to the vendor you're speaking with. This will truly help them, you know, dial in that bid. And that way, when you get them, they're all the same and you can easily compare the pricing. Does anyone have questions regarding this tab? Feel free to unmute yourself or use the chat box. I'm going to take the silence as a no. The one thing I do want to highlight, because I know a few of you are going through this year, mulch reduction, if you need it, let's include it next year. I know a few communities needed it this year and we had to work outside the budget because we didn't have that in there. That can be a one-off cost, so it's not built into your contract, or you can build it into your contract. Either way, we just, again, want apples to apples comparison. So if one vendor is putting it in the contract, make sure all the other two are as well. Otherwise, we can have that as a standalone, like we do with seasonal color and mulch. So same thing with the snow removal. We want to go through here and pretty much specify again what services we want. I know given our market layout, every market's a little different with snow removal. Our southern communities really only focus on de-icing, snow melt, not really snow removal, so to say, versus our northern states, we're trying to get retainer bids, which means we're paying a flat monthly fee for them to plow as many times as needed. The threshold is typically a 2-inch threshold. So once we get 2 inches of snow, they should be coming out and plowing. We also want to include snow melts in that, salts, whether it's the liquid salt or the block salt. So if you have questions regarding that, reach out to your regional. They're pretty well versed on what your community's done in the past and what we need to bid out this year. So again, fill out all the blue cells, give this to your snow removal company and or landscaper. They're typically the same. That way we're getting apples to apples comparison. Any questions regarding the snow removal portion? Great, I'm gonna keep going. So the contracts, make-readies, and CapEx, which are the last 3 tabs in this template, this is where you're gonna be putting all of your numbers pretty much. So over here you can see we want 3 bids per service. So again, utilize, you know, we always have our preferred vendors, which is great, but we always want to make sure we're getting competitive pricing and they're not taking advantage of us. So get their bids, reach out to other contractors. Maybe there's new vendors in the market, get their bids as well. And the best practice is always, if there's multiple properties within a market, we really want to try to utilize the same companies for the same bids. And try to get a portfolio discount. So if there's 2 or more properties, let's work together. Let's try to get the same vendors, see if they'll give us a discount if we end up going with them at both communities. Work with your regionals on that as well, but always get your preferred vendors and then go from there. But when you're filling this out, we should have 3 bids minimum for each service. And it's broken out pretty much with our contracts, what we're looking for, down towards the bottom. If you have additional services, put that in there. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anything that may be one-offs, but just make sure this is completed before, of course, we do budget writing. Any questions regarding contracts? Perfect. Next tab is make readies. So once you, in the overview, when you put in your property information, this should auto-generate your unit types, and then you'll just have to fill in how many of each unit type you have. So if there's 12, 36, 42, just fill this number in, and you can pull this from your box score summary pretty easily. But again, for all our turn services, we want to get a minimum of 3 bids. Use your preferred contractor, get 2 additional. You'll put the vendor names up at the top and then what their pricing is per unit style. And then down towards the bottom, it's going to give you an average. And this is what you're going to utilize for your actual budget writing. And when you go into the template, it'll ask what the average carpet clean is, what your average full paint, janitorial clean. You can easily pull that. So if you're saying like $40, $50, and $60, you scroll down here and it's going to give you an average rate of $53 per carpet clean. And that's what you'll use in your budget. So that is why it's so important to get all of this information input before budget writing. Plus, we can always try to negotiate if our preferred contractor ends up being higher than other contractors in the market. Any questions regarding the make ready or turn tab? I think I saw maybe a comment come through. Never mind. Last tab here. CapEx, everyone's favorite, and you guys always tend to have a long list here. So the CapEx tab is truly for capital improvement projects we want to do on site. This is everything from, we have wood rot going on and need to do wood replacement, we need to paint, stairwell projects, carpet replacement in common areas, everything to furniture replacement in clubhouses, dog parks, amenity upgrades, anything like that that you and your team want to do. This is where you're going to put it. Put the project name, vendors you're bidding out, what the description of the project is, and then put the pricing in. We can't promise everything is going to get approved for the budget, but at least put down your wants and needs. And then we can start dwindling down from there. I know this year, a lot of you, we had to trim back a lot of projects just given fund performance on some levels. We've had COVID where we've pushed projects just based on occupancy and trends. So work those projects back into your 2021 budget. Make sure you put all that information in, and then we can prioritize from there. Are there any questions regarding the CapEx tab? That is the last piece of the bid template. Great. So with this, you will want to start working on this in July. Again, I'll put this deadline in the timeline that goes out early July, but that is truly your month of really start the bid process, get your bids in, fill this out, and in August, we are ready to go with budget writing. At a minimum, this is due the day before we have your budget writing workshop. We don't want to have bids lingering. We don't want to have this half filled out because it really hinders you on writing the budget itself. So aim for July 31st to get this done if possible, but we always know some vendors are hard to work with. So again, questions, reach out to your regionals about this, reach out to me. Sarah's a great resource as well. So if there's no questions regarding the bid process, we will move on to, to the budget template. So again, if you were with us, I've got some very seasoned budget writers with us, I know, and some brand new ones. Our budget template truly hasn't changed much from last year. Sarah and I did make some tweaks to certain sections, which I'll cover with you just to help the budget writing go more efficient and quicker. But otherwise, this should be a pretty standard. You guys are in this hopefully monthly, weekly, so this should be very familiar to you. I'm not going to go through every tab, of course. That is what your budget writing workshop's for. Regionals are getting full training on this next week on income assumptions, which is always everyone's worst nightmare, but I'm creating a how-to for the regionals. They can share that with you to really make this process go as quick and easy as possible. But overall changes we made that I'd like to highlight in income, one-time concessions we have changed to really putting in a flat amount. So say Sarah says, let's factor in $150 concession per move-in, you know, May through August. So all you have to do now is put in what the concession rate is. And I'm sorry, this is not going to fill out because I did not fill in our income assumptions, but it's going to take this and multiply it by how many move-ins we have and give you your concession number. Last year, we really had to manually do the calculations or put in flat rates like $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month. We went ahead and adjusted that since with the budget assumptions Sarah provides us. Let me find a site that we have it. We typically will tell you what we want to do for a concession and when. So again, you'll be able to plug these numbers into the template and it'll quickly calculate for you. And if for whatever reason we adjust your occupancy numbers, move out numbers, whatever, when this number adjusts, this is automatically going to adjust for you. So hopefully that saves you some time to have to go in and manually adjust those. Another section we adjusted was our NSF fees. Again, we put in what our NSF fee is. Most of these are $75, and then how many per month so that it's auto calculating. Last year, again, we had to put in just a flat rate. If it was 150, if it was 225, we were factoring, that's the number we would put in, but this helps you really visualize what our rate is, plus how many we expect per month. So again, pretty easy change, nothing crazy. Turnover under paint supplies, which this may not have been updated yet, I'm sorry. We are in the process of updating this. We are going to be factoring in how much it is per gallon and then how many gallons it takes for a full paint, a touch-up paint. That way it's auto-calculating again on how many turns we have, how many full paints we're factoring, how many touch-ups, so that it's giving you a more exact number versus just throwing in $300, $400. It really helps us control that number a little better. Advertising under marketing, moving gifts, we put in here how much we are doing per, I may have the old template. Sorry about that, guys. We actually put in a field asking how much our move-in gifts are. And again, it's going to auto-populate based on how many move-ins are assumed for that month. So it's going to be a quick plug-in number. And just a note, so you guys understand, your move-in bags and your keychains, those, I know we buy them in bulk and it hits at one time, but that amount of money is factored into that per move-in cost. So if you're doing a $10 per move-in, $2 of that goes towards your bag and your keychains. So you don't have to add that to property swag or anything like that. And the last big change we did was under utilities. And I know this is everyone's bane of existence is the utilities tab, but what we've noticed and what I'm sure half of you have noticed, when we enter our expenses, our budget number for rebill is factoring off that same month's number, whereas we are billing residents in arrears, at least 2 months in arrears. So the numbers aren't hitting as accurate as they should be. So we adjusted that. So once you enter your water and sewer expense, down at the bottom with rebill, it's going to actually have that income hitting 2 months in the future. So that hopefully month to month, your actuals are reflecting closer to the budget than they are in the past few years. Are there any questions regarding those changes? I know that's a lot I threw at you, but no questions.
I'll just add too, if you aren't able to ask a question right now, don't forget that we have that chat box too. So feel free to just click the chat box and copy the answer that way.
Perfect. So moving on to what we're requiring our maintenance supervisors to do. Just like last year, we want you involved in this budget. We don't want you to come back and say, oh, my manager just threw this number in. I needed more plumbing supply parts, but I don't have enough. We want this to be very collaborative. You guys know your department the best. You know what your needs are. So again, we are going to ask you to work with your community managers for the month of July and fill in your R&M tab. So that's your repair and maintenance. And then also your CapEx tab. And it doesn't have to be all the CapEx, but really focus on appliance replacement, carpet, vinyl replacement, HVAC is always huge. Work with your community managers, put those numbers down so that I can't guarantee you're going to get it all, but you at least have a full say in what your department's budget is going to look like. I know most of you did this last year again, but very easy to fill out. What the key with this is to be as detailed as possible. So don't just go in here and go, oh, plumbing, or let's say HVAC supplies, I need $200 in the winter, and then let's ramp it up a little bit, and then summer months I need $800. And I'm just going to put supplies. We really want that broken out. We want you to know what capacitors you need, how much Freon we're using. So have a line in here for Freon or refrigerant. You can calculate it. You know how much it is per container and how many you go through each month. So work that, put those numbers in. But let's break this out so that when you're looking at this throughout the year, you're not questioning yourself going, oh, shoot, what was I thinking when I put this in? Like, why is it more this month versus last month? That is why we give you so many lines in here. Same with garage repairs. Maybe it's a miscellaneous repair. Maybe you need an operator or door replacement, or who knows, a new belt, whatever it is, break those out as much as possible. You have comments down here, a comment box, put your comments in. The more you explain, the less questions Sarah's going to have, your regionals are going to have when they're reviewing this, because we're truly going to be looking at our variance year over year. So if for some reason you're wanting a 300% increase on a category, that's going to really alert everyone and go, what the heck is going on? Why are we asking for this much more money? More comments you put in, the more we know your thought process and why you need it. So really utilize the comment box, break out what you're trying to ask for. And always, if you're stuck or need help, ask your manager, ask your regional, get their thoughts and opinions. But this shouldn't take too long to complete, but really make sure you guys set time aside, 2-3 hours to run through the R&M and CapEx tab so that you're asking for what you need. Is there any questions regarding what we are asking you guys to do, maintenance supervisors? This is your time.
No, I'm good.
Perfect.
When did you say the CapEx and R&M tab was due?
Again, I'll put it in a timeline, but this should be done at a minimum before budget writing.
Okay.
And different from last year, I know we had a separate file for maintenance supervisors to fill out. I'm just gonna make sure your actual budget template is ready to go so that you guys can just actually enter it in the budget. So when it comes budget writing, oh, someone muted us. JE, are you able? There we go. Thank you. Different. So sorry, Ashley. Instead of having a separate tab in the community managers having to go in and recopy and paste stuff, you guys are going to be able to actually fill out this template, the budget template, in true time so that when it comes budget writing, your R&M and your CapEx is pretty much good to go. Hoping to save you guys time on that end. Any questions? I know JE muted everyone, but if you have a question, throw it in the chat box. Otherwise, I will keep moving on. Just some quick tips and tricks, and I know if you've worked with me in the past with budgets, you probably already know this. But down here in your CY forecast, this is going to show you what your actual spend was for, it'll be 2020. So we'll probably have up through July financials in here, maybe only June when we start writing the budget, but this is going to show you what we've spent for the year so far. And then anything in the future, that's going to be your budget number. So when you're looking and questioning, like, is this realistic? Is this what we're actually spending? This is what you want to utilize to really see what you've been spending for the year. And quick tip, if you're looking for an average, which a lot of the time I'll be like, just use historical averages. If it's parts, supplies, maintenance supplies, whatever it is, if you highlight these cells, so we'll go through May of, this is a different year, but we'll go through May down here. Down at the bottom in the Excel, it's going to give you an average of what those funds are. So on average, this property spent $175 per month on electrical supplies. So utilize this as much as possible. It's going to be your best friend. But if you didn't know that, make note. It's very handy. It's very useful. The other tip I like to say, so if you're looking, it's easier with contracts because we know these are flat rates. If our contract amount is $2,000 per month, instead of going through and writing 2,000 12 times, all you have to do is click on the cell, and down here at the right-hand corner, you'll get a crosshatch, and that means you can actually click and drag, and it's going to auto-populate that number for you. So again, just a very quick tip to use if you're going to have the same number recurring every single month instead of typing that in. Is there any questions regarding that? I know it's just a little Excel 101, but very handy when you're going through multiple lines. Perfect.
Is there a way to more boxes below if we need more, like the blue section there?
Yep. Unfortunately, no. If you do need more, I would make note, and we can tell Sarah we wouldn't be able to do it for this year, but we can for the following year. Okay. For the most part, we've tried to add the past few years for the accounts that we think are needed. But if you spot any, Justin, while you're writing, just notify Emily, and she can flag us on it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Awesome. Well, the last piece of detail I want to go over, and I'm sure everyone's asking, we typically have an annual budget writing workshop. Many of you attended last year. We are still planning this right now. However, it is still TBD, just based on travel restrictions and what we're doing as a company. So I believe your regionals already sent out save the dates. So keep those on your calendar, because if we're unable to actually travel, we will be doing this virtually. We ideally will get in person as much as possible. We find it's easier to write this and knock it out in 3 days, but unfortunately, we just don't know what the future will hold. We should know more in July. We are planning for both in-person and virtual, so just be aware of that. If it is virtual, we will be shipping you all the reports you need. Again, the how-to guide I am putting together for regionals, we'll probably send you guys a copy as well, just to have on hand, along with all the little things that we like to do throughout.
Hey, JC, it's JE. We have a question. When will everyone have access to the template sheet for their community?
So I'm hoping for July 1st. We have them all together. Sarah just has to upload them into Box. If everyone's familiar, you have in the community manager folder, you have a budget folder. 2021 has not been added yet, but I am working with Sarah on getting that added. And then your budget and bid template will be available in there. Budget assumptions, which is this report. Again, some of you are familiar with this, but this gives you what our expected occupancy is, concessions, renovations, rent growth, what our retention rate goal is, taxes, insurance, NOI, or net income we're looking for the year. It's truly going to give you a lot of the data you need.
Hey, JC, can you hear me?
I can hear you, JE.
Okay, thanks, Emily. JC, are you still, I see you. Are you able to hear me or no? Wondering if there's some internet connection.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, guys. As I was saying, budget assumptions, Sarah and I are working through early next month. So your regionals will have this at a minimum by August 1st. But again, this is a report we'll supply to you guys for that budget writing. That is all I had for you guys. Are there any questions? JE, if you want to unmute everyone, I'm happy to walk through any questions there may be. No? Is everyone excited for budgets? Okay, well, I will let you guys go early then if there's no additional questions, but if anything does come up, feel free to reach out to myself, your regional. Sarah's a great resource during budget writing, so utilize her if needed. But otherwise, I hope everyone has an awesome Thursday.
Thanks, JC.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.